When the sun set 2 Saturdays ago on Sooner Nation, an SEC opening win over Auburn and a 4-0 start to 2025 felt awfully fine. The defense sacked up a program record-tying day, tossing and turning a former teammate turned Tiger 9 times. And Mateer was masterful, once again leaving Sooner fans wanting more and hoping that it comes sooner rather than later. From inside Gaylord Family Oklahoma Memorial Stadium in Norman, it's Sooner Game Day presented by Taco Mayo. Big appetite, bigger savings. Download and save today. Just the second ever meeting between Oklahoma and Kent State. The two programs met back in 2022. Brent Venable's second game as Oklahoma head coach, and the Sooners beat the Golden Flashes 33-3. Kickoff will be at 3 o'clock coming up on Saturday right here at the Palace on the Prairie. Oklahoma set to honor the national championship team of 1985. This is the 40th anniversary of the Sooners' 6th national championship. We welcome in a man who helped the Sooners win their 7th national championship in the year 2000, Butkus Bednarik Award-winning linebacker Teddy Lehman. And as always, the Werfel Trophy winner, Academic All-American of the Year, and All-American center Gabe Eichert. And I am your host, Chad McKee. Yes, Gabe?
This beard, man.
It's fantastic.
I mean,
why did we just now see it?
This is going to sound weird. It feels like it's always been there.
Yeah.
I'm so used to it now. I'm like, I don't remember Ted without it now.
Yeah.
I can't remember just clean-shaven Ted.
I would agree. And this is the only pregame show with 3 bearded hosts and or co-hosts.
That's right.
It's got to be, right?
That's right. Leading the country in
I
facial
have
hair.
a lot of gray in mine, but I have the least gray, which makes me feel kind of good.
Have you seen this?
Oh, it looks fantastic.
We look like a Just for Men
It's
commercial
Kent
over
State
here.
week. Here we are.
It is
Beer
Kent
talk to
State
start
week.
things.
So we had a bye week last week, although I don't know, it really didn't much feel like a bye week. Got a few things done, watched a lot of football. How about you, Ted? How was your bye week?
It was great. Watching those Auburn clips, that feels like a year ago. Feels like time has just slowly gone by. But it was really good to kind of sit back and watch the rest of college football and dial in. And it's fun out there. There's a lot of good stuff happening. This year is wide open. Everyone seems to be fairly close at this moment. So it's an exciting time.
Just kind of missed having a week to enjoy a game like Oklahoma-Michigan or Oklahoma-Auburn. There was a void in my life, Gabe. How about you?
I went and got elbow surgery.
Oh, good.
Hey,
Typical bye week.
shout out to my guy, Eric Johnson. Feels great.
So-
Feels great. Bone spurs, was losing some motion, had to get it fixed.
This
boys.
is also a first. We're going to have 2 surgeon shout-outs here in the early moments. The first segment of the show. That's got to be a record as well. So let's jump into that, guys. How about didn't feel like a bye week, and then you get the news that John Mateer broke his hand and yet played through it in the Auburn game. Surgery, of course, more on the surgeon in just a moment. But, Gabe, where were you, and what do you think about the prognosis, the long-term prognostication for the Sooners starting quarterback?
I wasn't shocked, and this was something that Ted and I actually talked about on the radio broadcast during some of the commercial breaks. During the Auburn game, I'm standing not very far from Mateer throughout the game, and he kept squeezing that right hand, and I remembered that play where he hit it on Falk's arm, and he just threw it so well in the second half, especially in the fourth quarter. I was like, oh, he must have just jammed it. He's all good, though. So I wasn't necessarily shocked about the news. I was just disappointed for college football fans, for Oklahoma fans, because in my opinion, he was playing the best football of any quarterback in college football. I mean, he was the front runner for the Heisman Trophy. So I was bummed out, but then I was thankful that we have Michael Hawkins Jr. We're one of the few programs that feels pretty good about their backup quarterback situation in this new landscape in college football. So I quickly went from, oh man, to, all right, here we go, next man up.
Yeah. Well, it's not common to have an announcement of a surgery for your starting quarterback to where you feel like he's going to be back at some time in the season. So when I first, as the news was read to me on air, so it's hard whenever you're hearing someone. I was worried, he had some tape on his knee. I was worried it was something there, but if it had to happen, the timing was perfect, right? We had a bye week. We've got Kent State before we head down and play OU Texas. So there's some time for recovery in there, and we'll see what happens with it.
Mike Hawkins will be the guy until Mateer comes back. We know Mike's story. Of course, his dad played for Bob Stoops at Oklahoma. His brother is now a Sooner defensive back. Made 4 starts a season ago. Mixed results. Obviously, had the chance to leave when they went out and got John Mateer. As they say, they recruit over your head sometimes. Just like being in the NFL. They might go find a guy to replace you. But he stuck around. Gabe, what kind of an opportunity is this for Mike Hawkins?
It's a huge opportunity. And I want to focus just on this season. I know that we're all expecting Mateer back at some point. We don't know how that healing process is going to go. So we need to rally around Mike Hawkins and support him like he's the starter for the foreseeable future, even though we know Mateer's coming back at some point. And this can be a special season for Oklahoma. One of the things that I did in the bye week was watch a ton of football. I didn't watch a single team where I went, I don't think we got a chance against them. So this is a team that I think can compete at the highest level of the sport this season. So Michael Hawkins Jr., he's got to go out and play well. And the great thing is, he's incredibly talented.
Yeah.
And he can do all of the things that this team needs him to do. One thing he doesn't need to do is go out there and try to be John Mateer. Just go out there and be Mike Hawkins. Man, operate the offense. Remember, you got one of the best defenses in college football on the other side of things helping you out. Just go play within yourself. He doesn't have to do anything special. He doesn't have to go out there and be Superman, Ted.
No, I agree. And, you know, people are going to have their feelings about how it went last year, but he is, in my opinion, in a totally different place as a football player. You know, physically, he's put on some good weight. He's worked on his body. He's got more experience. He's got comfort. He's been able to watch John Mateer run this offense. He's got great coaching from Arbuckle, and the situation around him is totally different than it was a year ago. You already mentioned the defense, how good they are. You can play to that strength. We got a full complement of receivers that's going to get even better coming into this week. The offensive line, I feel like, is in a different place than it was a year ago. So the situation around him is going to help him tremendously.
So that's the serious side. Let's have some fun for just a moment, because social media certainly did with the surgery with John Mateer and the surgeon more specifically. Dr. Shinsanity got unleashed on Sooner Nation this week. This guy's operated on That's pretty awesome right there.
It was in this fan base took something bad, your starting quarterback having to have surgery on his throwing hand, and made it into the most entertaining thing in college football during the week. And it's why OU fans are the best fans in the country. This was incredibly entertaining. And maybe the best part is, you know, even though they were all memes and all these things, like, these people were serious.
Oh, yeah.
They were praying for Dr. Shin. They were supporting that. I mean, you see, you've got government officials getting involved. It was phenomenal. Ted, just a 10 out of 10 performance from Sooner Nation.
It's got to be so funny to be, you know, all the way across the country and see that just for, you know, a small sliver in time, you're like the most famous person in that state, right?
Yeah.
It's just, it was so fun, and everyone is well versed in his history, his clientele. It was a great little thing to get us through the trouble.
Even Jalen Williams, the Thunder All-Star guard, gets asked about Dr. Shin, who performed his surgery, and what does he think about John Mateer? And he actually went along with it himself as well. Great that it spread far and wide, but the most important thing was surgery went well. The prognosis is very good for a fairly speedy return for the Sooners starting quarterback. So, Kent State this week, Texas looming next week. Longhorns, one of 6 remaining ranked teams on the Sooners schedule. If all 6 are ranked by the time the Sooners play them, that'll be 8 of 12 opponents this year in the top 25 at the time that Oklahoma plays them. Just crazy. Deeper dive into the Sooner offense. Michael Hawkins, different situation. An offensive line that's light years ahead of where it was a season ago when he played as starting quarterback. And, of course, a new offensive coordinator. How does that all gel together potentially on Saturday? We're discussing that next on Sooner Game Day, presented by Taco Mayo. Mike Hawkins last year was just the 7th true freshman to start a game as a Sooner quarterback, and he won on the road at Auburn. Of course, his dad, Michael, was a cornerback for Bob Stoops' Sooners. Younger brother Malik is now a Sooner DB. Mixed results, but a completely different situation for him a year ago, kind of thrust into the middle of things. The South Carolina game was a bit of a mess. He enters that game, then becomes the starting quarterback. So it's a different scenario for him nearly 365 days later. 2025, 783 yards. Really not shown here his ability to run the football and the threat that he provides with that. He ran for a little over 200 yards and a rushing touchdown. But Teddy really got a lot of buzz. You mentioned it earlier. He's changed his body, coming in as a true freshman. It's hard. You get a year under Jerry Schmidt, the strength program. He's a different looking type of player. What was the buzz about in preseason camp with Mike Hawkins?
Well, you go back to the bowl prep a year ago whenever Arbuckle came early and started working with him. So we got, a little bit of a preview as to how he's going to be coached. And then whenever I came and watched them in the spring, he looked like a different player to me. Well organized, knew what he was doing, leader of the offense. I feel like he throws a accurate ball. Now, here's the thing about, I've said all along, I love that Mateer gets the ball out really quickly, on time, on target. And I think Hawkins has learned a lot from that. He's starting to get the ball out really fast. He's got a super quick release. We all know he's a great runner, but what I've seen from him through the spring and through training camp is he's a better quarterback, not just a guy running around with a football like it felt like at times last year.
Mm-hmm. His mechanics have improved significantly as well, and you can give Arbuckle and Coach Kuz a lot of credit for that. They've worked diligently on getting his speed a little quieter, getting his mechanics better, and credit to Hawkins for taking the coaching. But it's just, he was thrown in to the worst situation imaginable for a true freshman quarterback last season.
Would have been brutal for a senior.
Bad O-line, every wide receiver hurt, inefficient run game. Everything was working against him. He was thrown in the middle of that Tennessee game. He didn't expect to go and play in that game. And then we weren't very good on offense last year. And this year, we are a much improved group. The offensive line is better. Now, we all know we got to get the run game going a little bit, and we're hoping to see that against Kent State. But it's a completely different situation this season. So I don't really factor what I saw from him a year ago in much at all to my expectations for what I expect to see in these next couple of weeks.
And it's really 3 different offensive coordinators that he has had. Honestly, you get the coordinator change midseason last year and a new coordinator in Ben Arbuckle. So if you're Ben Arbuckle and you've got this super talented guy, at least for a few games, maybe the rest of the season, how do you start to approach it? Does the offense change at all with Mike Hawkins back there, Gabe?
I think you tweak a few things. Now, the passing game has been good. And they expect Mike Hawkins to be able to operate similar to the way that John Mateer did from the pocket. But there are some things that Hawkins did well a year ago that I think you should lean into if you're Ben Arbuckle. The guy can really run. Mm-hmm. You have to use that. Maybe you don't use it a ton against Kent State. You don't want him to take a ton of hits. But we've seen a lot of run game for Mateer, like downhill gap scheme run game for John Mateer. I'd like to see us get Michael Hawkins out on the edges of the defense and let him use that speed. Those guys aren't built the same. Mateer's kind of built like a linebacker. Now, Hawkins looks much better physically this year, but I think you set him up for success getting him out on the edges of the defense. And last season, he threw it really well on the run, especially moving to his right. So think of boot concepts, getting him out on the edge of the defense, sprint pass, getting him out on the edge of the defense where he's throwing on the run, or if he doesn't like the route concepts, he can tuck it and run. You're going to do a lot of the very similar things in the passing game than what we've seen from this group, but I think you can play to Hawkins' strengths a little bit, and the athleticism and how accurate he is on the move is definitely something he does well.
Obviously, Teddy, Texas is next week. You want Michael Hawkins to find some confidence, first of all, in this Kent State game. How do you approach it knowing that Texas is going to get a good look at him? Do you want them concerned, show everything in the playbook and have them worried defensively about what he can do, or keep it fairly routine and then unleash some things on Texas next week?
It does give you a unique opportunity. We've got a big advantage with how the situation sits right now, looking forward to next week with Texas. We don't know if John Mateer is going to play. They don't know if John Mateer is going to play. So you have Mike Hawkins, and I would typically say, and I agree with everything Gabe said about the offensive situation, I would also drop some stuff in there that you feel like is tailored specifically for Mike Hawkins and what he's going to do at the quarterback position. And you have to do due diligence as a defense. Even if you expect Mateer to play against Texas, if you're the Texas coaching staff, you have to prepare against all of this stuff that you feel like they put in for Mike Hawkins because you don't know who's going to play. So, I think they probably just do what they do, but it wouldn't shock me if we saw some offensive schemes or styles that are unique to Mike Hawkins and what we've seen so far this year. Just maybe it's disinformation, maybe it's not.
They have had the full bye week and the game prep week for Kent State to really study themselves. And when you're doing that, when you're going through that audit, you look at your tendencies. This is a great opportunity to throw in some things that completely go against the tendencies you have shown so far. Every team in college football now gets this big analytics breakdown of where you're calling it. Right hash, 3rd and 3, 3rd and 8, like all these different things, these very specific statistical breakdowns. OU knows that stuff about themselves. Go do some things that maybe make Texas go, that doesn't match up with what we've seen.
I think that's the first use of the word audit as well here on Sooner Game Day.
Usually
Congratulations
not a good thing.
It's not. I know it got my attention when you used that word. Potential that Mike Hawkins has Giovanni Gibson out there, wide receiver, coming back from a broken leg. He's an Arkansas Pine Bluff transfer. A lot of success there at a little lower level, but he made some noise in the spring and summer with what coaches got to see from him. What do you hear about Giovanni Gibson, Gabe?
Well, every time we went out to spring practice, Ted and I had a conversation of who is the best player on the team, Giovanni Gibson or John Mateer.
Wow, okay.
He stood out each and every time we were out there, and he stands out physically. You see him, he's built different than every other wide receiver we have. And we had Emmett Jones on Coach's Corner this week. He told us, yes, Giovanni Gibson is coming back from the injury. He's going to be on a pitch count, but that he looks the exact same as he did in the spring. That got me very excited.
Yeah. Everything I've seen of him is, and the most of the reps that I saw, Mateer was out there, so that dynamic, you don't know exactly how it is with Hawkins, but 50-50 balls, loves to go up and make plays over the top of guys. He's big. You've seen there, he's 215 plus pounds. He's got good height on him. He runs well. He's going to be hard to tackle. He's, as you've heard the coaches say, he's one of those guys where it really doesn't matter. He's always open. You just throw the ball in that area.
And probably letting the quarterbacks know that he's always open.
That's right.
And in the meantime, you think about the difference. A year ago this time, it would have just been, please, can he get back in there? Now, it's a luxury to have him coming back, given what Satania and what Kanik has done at the tight end spot. In good shape at the wide receiver spot for Mike Hawkins this week. Up next, we're talking about the Sooner defense, a crimson storm at time, leading the country in sacking quarterbacks. Poised and ready to take on Kent State coming up this weekend, and they might get a player back who was a big contributor a year ago as well coming up this week. Diving into the defense next on Sooner Game Day, presented by Taco Mayo. What a year it's been so far for Brent Venables' Sooner defense. They've allowed 3 total touchdowns through 4 games. They've forced nearly as many punts, 33, as they've allowed points, 36. And that's without taking the football away one time. Haven't forced one turnover. More on that in a moment. But you just take a look at some of the numbers, that stand out. Getting off the field on 3rd down. huge part. They lead the country. They're allowing 18% third down conversion rates. Teddy, what sticks out most to you? And then Gabe, you take one.
Well, I think third down is the stat. Now, sacks and all of those things contribute to that, but you got to get off the field playing defense. And, people aren't sustaining drives. So a lot of those third downs are not, where they're following up with a fourth down attempt. And we've been good in that regard as well. But getting off the field and third down is what it's all about. Forcing people into tough situations, third and longs, third and predictables, where you can turn that defensive line loose. And we've been really good on the back end. Our cover guys know that D-line is getting home. So that ball's got to come out quick. So they play really aggressive across the back end.
Clearly, the third down situation stands out. But the one on there that really stands out to me is number one in the country when it comes to preventing plays of 10-plus yards from your opponent.
Yeah.
It's a massive deal. We all know how explosive plays can skew a game. I mean, think about the Michigan game. That one explosive play made that game a lot closer than it felt.
Yeah.
Like it felt like we controlled that entire game. That 175-yard run changed things. That's really a handful of plays against Auburn with Cam Coleman and that one run against Michigan. That's really all we've seen offenses get against this defense.
Yeah, well, we can sit here and name them all specifically. That means you're playing pretty good defense.
Well, Michigan had one over the top of RSJ too.
Yeah.
Like they had two explosives, and what I consider explosives. Like it's been really, really good up to this point.
And it was very good against Auburn, tying the school record with 9 sacks by 7 different players. That's the other thing about it. 13 tackles for loss in that game. It was great. What would you like to see tightened up, maybe cleaned up a little bit defensively, Gabe?
Oh. I mean,
that's the
really,
first time you've had no words.
Well, we use a lot of movement, and that's just what Brent Venables likes to do. If I'm really nitpicking, I would like to see some more one-on-one wins in pass rush from the defensive line, whether that's the interior guys with Grayson Halton and David Stone, or that's our Mason Thomas coming off the edge. But they've been so good up to this point. That's really nitpicking.
Yeah, and like I said, the defensive line is getting home, and the secondary has the ability to play really aggressively and really tight. Well, people aren't just going to sit there in the backfield and get killed by your defensive line. They're going to create ways to help themselves out. I think, we saw a couple of stutter goes, some double moves against Auburn that got us. Screens is going to be something they continue to see to slow us down. We do a great job, though, with play calling. It's hard to know, are we bringing everyone or are we backing out? Our defensive line does a really good job recognizing screen, but you have to just continue to think about the way people are going to counter you. They know where you're really good, and they're going to try and give themselves some opportunities to take advantage of your aggressiveness.
Jackson Arnold
We're showing the defense's lowlights right here, and they're all like 9-yard gains.
I know.
So that's when you know you're playing some pretty good defense.
Most of them are 9-yard gains with an opportunity to have a guy in the backfield or something too.
I think Jackson Arnold got really reacquainted with a lot of his former teammates last week, and not necessarily in a good way. Eli Bowen, the potential to come back. So to the victors go the spoils, so to speak. They might add one more guy who played a lot and played well as a freshman last year, Teddy.
Yeah, and he's fantastic. I do wonder, he's missed a lot of time. Spring ball training camp, that's a lot of snaps. It's a lot of individual work. Just wonder how sharp he is right now. I wonder how much time they're going to give him out there, game time, game reps. Venables said that he's been practicing the last couple of weeks, but, I don't know what that means. Does that mean he's been full on, or they just dropped him in some drills here and there? I'm also curious to see how they end up using him. He is a really versatile football player. He can play corner. I think he can play the inside coverage positions, the cheetah or the dime whenever we go 6 defensive backs. He's really aggressive. He'll come up. He tackles well. He blitzes well. He reminds me a lot of Billy Bowman, honestly, that played every position for us. So it's definitely a huge addition for this defense. I'm curious to see how he looks right now.
So, Gabe, we talked about what you might like to clean up defensively. And I don't know, the elephant in the room maybe is still turnovers. Have not yet forced a turnover.
Not worried about it.
Brent Venables said that this week. He said, haven't forced a turnover. He said, how disgusting is that?
I believe he said it's pathetic.
He said,
yeah.
if we were getting our brains beat in, I would be worried about it, not enjoying any of it. But he said, they will come. They forced 21 turnovers last year. They had 6 in a game last year against Temple. Is this the week? This has to be the week that it starts, right?
Let's hope so. Let's hope so. Clearly, Kent State going to be completely outmatched in this football game, and you would hope that this is when they start to come. Now, if we're saving them all for next week at the Cotton Bowl,
All good.
I'm all good. I think the important thing, and this is something Venables has talked about quite a bit, is that these guys don't start pressing to get the turnovers because we've tackled at a high level.
Yep.
We don't want to become the team that's ripping at the ball, and guys are carrying defenders for 6, 7, 8 extra yards. They'll come. Just continue to play disciplined, physical, relentless effort defense, and everything will work out. And when they throw the ball to you, catch it.
Yeah, that's
Catch
when
it.
you have the opportunity, you got to make it. But I think you touched on the most critical point. Bad defenses have to rely on turnovers. So they're ripping at the ball as they're getting drugged 8, 10 yards down the field. They're taking unnecessary risk on the perimeter. Instead of securing the sack, you're only concerned about stripping the ball. They're going to come with the way we play, how physical, the penetration, the chaos in the backfield. It's going to happen. The thing that stands out to me the most is how good we are statistically, given that we haven't forced a turnover, and how many more yards because of that. How many more drives continue instead of getting off the field. The offense hasn't had the advantage of benefiting from great field position. You turn someone over inside their own red zone. So whenever they start to come, this could look like an entirely different football team, and they will come. The way they're playing defense, it's going to happen.
And the offense has a role in this as well. The offense has turned it over too much. 6 turnovers through 4 games. If that doesn't get ruled a not fumble against Auburn, that's 7.
Yeah.
And they've put the defense in some bad spots. Like some of the points that the defense has given up has been a direct result of the offense giving the other team the ball in our own territory. That's something that needs to get cleaned up offensively. We have turned it over too much. Got to fix that. Especially when you look at what the schedule looks like the rest of the way after this game. You cannot continue to lose the turnover margin and win these big games. Won't happen.
How about a 66-yard punt last week from Grayson Miller? Got to have a little bit of special teams sprinkled in. We don't talk about it, but that was a special moment now.
He has been massive for this team.
When you combine a great punter with a great defense, it turns into a huge weapon that a lot of people just don't factor in.
Up next, going to talk a little Kent State. They snapped a 21-game losing streak by winning their opener over Merrimack. And for Oklahoma fans, what a special day it's going to be, honoring the 1985 National Championship team with the King, Coach Switzer, and many of his players that will be on hand right here at the Palace on the Prairie on Saturday. We're talking about that next on Sooner Game Day, presented by Taco Mayo. Coach Switzer, the King, and his 1985 national title team going to be honored on their 40th anniversary of winning. Look at Keith Jackson. Almost as good a dancer as he was a tight end.
That's a big dude, and he
Yeah,
just ran straight around that guy.
Speaking of big dudes that could move, Brian Bosworth, Tony Casillas, College Football Hall of Famers. You got Kevin Murphy, who was also an All-American, along with the late, great Ricky Dixon. All of them on that championship team.
Look at those throwbacks.
Those are clean and sharp. Bud Wilkinson era-inspired jerseys this week in the throwbacks.
I love our traditional jerseys, but these are so clean. I don't understand anyone that doesn't like these.
Have you heard people that don't?
Yeah, I think people just like the traditional uniforms, and I get that. But when it comes to alternates, less is more for me.
Completely
and
agree.
This is this minimalist, just clean, awesome look that harkens back to the best era of OU football. This is the best way to put it. I'm jealous I didn't get to wear one of those.
Ted, how about you?
It's as good.
You got to wear one.
I got to wear one. Pretty much that same setup right there. It's as good of an alternate as you're never going to get everyone to like any type of alternate, right? But that bats about 800 or 900, I think, with the fan base. It's really good, sharp, clean. It's not busy. I think you covered it. It's great.
Unless you're Oregon, and it's all alternate uniforms all the time. Every single week they do something different.
But unless they play at Penn State in a whiteout and they kind of go understated. That was shocking.
I think Penn State was uncertain who they were playing, in fact. Kent State interim head coach Mark Carney was put in place in April. I mean, that's a tough situation. It's hard enough to recruit. Deal with the transfer portal. You get the job in April. They beat Merrimack to open the season, ending their 21-game losing streak. Of course, that carried over. But, Ted, give us the scoop presented by your neighborhood Brahms ice cream and dairy stores, farm fresh for over 50 years. What do you see with Kent State's offense?
Yeah, I think DeShields, the quarterback, is capable. He can make the throws. He's got some athleticism, can run around a little bit. I wouldn't call him a running quarterback, but if you don't take care of your rush lanes and keep eyes on him, he can do some stuff there. I think Deshaun Martin, the receiver that has their best playmaker, he does a lot of stuff. He'll go up and fight for balls. He's got great speed.
There he is.
He's a good runner in the open field. Whenever he's got the ball, they'll use some double moves. Just talking about what some of our weaknesses are, they do quite a bit of. They'll do some double move stuff there with Martin, as I said, and then they're a big screen team. They like the running back screens in a bunch of different ways. Gavin Garcia, their running back, is their main screen back, and they do a pretty good job with the offensive line getting out in front. Now, we're going to have a big advantage stopping the traditional run and the drop back pass. They're going to have their hands full.
You saw it. They're playing Texas Tech here. Got 60 points hung on them by the Red Raiders. Texas Tech's got a good offense. Same thing against Florida State in their fourth game of the year. So what does that defense look like?
It's an undersized group at the line of scrimmage. You got defensive tackles in the 275, 285-pound range. I think the strength of the defense is the linebacker core. They've got 4 guys that they feel really good about at that position. Ted and I had Mark Carney on the podcast this week, and he pointed those guys out individually. So I think they feel good about that linebacking core. Where they really struggle is in the secondary. I know everyone wants to see us run it for 1,000,000 yards this weekend. I feel the same way, but with what I've seen from them on tape, I would like to see Mike Hawkins build some confidence in the passing game, because this is a group in the back end for Kent State that struggles mightily in zone coverage. They can't play man against us. That would set themselves up for failure, and they've just really struggled tracking guys in zone. So yes, I want to see us run for 1,000,000 yards. But I also want to see some big 30, 40, 50-yard type plays in the passing game.
I think you're diving into our next segment, which is My Pleasure, presented by Chick-fil-A. Download the Chick-fil-A app and order all your favorites ahead of time. What would give you the most pleasure then? Big plays?
Has Koenig scored a touchdown?
No.
That's what I want. He's been fantastic for us up to this point in the season, and I think he needs to be featured even more in this offense. The guy gets open. I mainly just want to see him score a touchdown because I want to see what the celebration is going to be.
No kidding. No kidding. For me, turnovers is the low-hanging fruit, but I'll just say I think this defense should and will get a shutout. We need a big goose egg up there, and we've had some opportunities. Some turnovers have set teams up for field goals, but I think we can hang a 0 up there on the scoreboard.
A 0 and getting the 0 out of the turnover column for the year. Those would be very, very good. Coming up next, mid-season coach firings, including one in the SEC this past week. And we're picking some games. That is next on Sooner Game Day, presented by Taco Mayo.
Thank you to our cornerstone television partners, OU Health, OG&E, Fowler Auto Group, and Coca-Cola. Sooner Game Day is presented by Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Riverwind Casino. It's always a good time. The Sooner Sports Podcast is your all-access audio pass to Sooner Sports. Listen as Toby Rowland and Chris Plank talk all things Sooners. Log on to Soonersports.com/podcast or search Sooner Sports Podcast in your favorite podcast provider. The Sooner Sports Podcast is presented by Allstate and Riverwind Casino. Sooner Game Day is presented by Sooner Kids Club. Log on to Soonersports.com/kids for information about joining the Kids Club presented by OG&E and brought to you in part by Devon Energy. One Oklahoma, powered by Sooner Sports Properties. Fan-fueled, athlete-focused. OU's 2025 football games are available on Ritmo 96.5 FM in Oklahoma City and 101.5 FM El Patron in Tulsa, as well as on these stations' websites. Each OU Spanish broadcast will feature a 30-minute pregame show and a 15-minute postgame show.
Your NCAA update is presented by Taco Mayo. Tap the app and save 25% today. Couple to get to here. More midseason firings this week. Sam Pittman at Arkansas. The Notre Dame game got away from them in the second half, and he was let go. Of course, Mike Gundy within the last 10 days. And the SEC announcing conference schedules through 2029 and the rival opponents, the three that Oklahoma will face every year. Texas, we knew that. Missouri, and Ole Miss through 2029. So, Ted, you take the coach firings. What should we make of midseason firings?
Well, I mean, it feels like, you know, with the way things are set up now, as soon as one team makes the initial firing, that here come the dominoes after that, because everyone needs to position themselves in the coaching carousel to get their interviews in and start talking to people. But you know, it's interesting now whenever you factor in coaches' buyouts with how these contracts are structured, the revenue share piece where you got to come up with an extra $20 million for players. Changing coaches has become very expensive. Now, it's always a good way to generate some donations and get money pouring into the program, but it's very costly to get there.
And players can enter the transfer portal.
That's right.
In that window after the coach is fired, which is even more chaos. How about the schedule? Lane Kiffin didn't think too highly of this rotation.
I don't care what Lane Kiffin thinks.
Agree with you completely. But what do you think?
It is what it is.
Yeah.
We've got the Texas game.
Anybody else?
Yeah. It's better than it could have been. It's worse than it could have been.
Sure.
So I think we'll all get used to it. Missouri's got things rolling right now.
They do.
Ole Miss has things rolling right now. So you've got two, if you look at it this year, like you've got two really good football teams that we played this season that we're going to play moving forward.
Yep.
Should be fun.
Significant win for Ole Miss this past week. Let's get into our Pick'em scoreboard, update the standings so far here in our college Pick'em. 8. I've gotten some help, or maybe not any help.
Illinois-Indiana won just a bit off on that bad boy.
Yeah.
But hey, the Illini bounced back against USC, though.
That's
this
right.
feels like forever
win.
ago.
It does. It really
My
does.
goodness.
Game Day Pick'em is presented by Riverwind Casino. Always a good time. Texas in the swamp for the first time since 1940. Of course, got the Sooners next week. A couple of quarterbacks, Lagway and Manning, who haven't been as good as was expected. Upset possibility, Teddy?
For sure. Yeah, I think that this is a very interesting game. I think Florida's defense has played well, kept them in some games against some tough opponents. Lagway has really struggled. We all know that. The turnovers have been a huge part of what's gone wrong for them. You know, my guess is that he missed so much time. He's going to get back into the flow of things throughout the bye week. I'm taking Florida to win the football game.
Whoa! I'll take Texas.
Okay.
Their defense is the best unit in the game. Their defense may be the best defense in the country. We'll find out as the season progresses. They're really good on defense. Florida's offense has been very underwhelming. I don't think they get back on track against Texas's defense.
It's hard for me to pick a team whose quarterback threw 5 interceptions in a game against a defense like Texas. That's why I'm taking Texas.
That's fair.
Vanderbilt and Alabama, boy, great win for Alabama. They've got Georgia's number. Their quarterback looks better. Ty Simpson, he played really well the other day. But Diego Pavia is playing as well as any quarterback in the SEC for Vanderbilt. I'm taking Alabama. How about you, Gabe?
I'm going to take Alabama. Now, if we were picking against the spread,
No doubt.
way too big. I
Agreed.
think Vandy's a good football team, but Ty Simpson's playing at a very high level. Give me the Crimson Tide.
Yeah, Alabama's going to have to earn this. I think it's going to be a one-score game late. Someone's have to go down the field and win the thing.
Alabama hasn't forgotten
take
being
Alabama.
beaten in Nashville last year by the same Vanderbilt program. Miami, Florida State. Florida State was really rolling. Then they get knocked off last week by Virginia. Who you picking in this one?
I know suspicious line in this game. I'm not going to let that affect me. Give me Miami. I do not think Florida State's offensive line will be able to block them. I think Tommy Castellanos is going to have a long day. Give me the Hurricanes.
Got to hurry.
I'm taking Florida State. I think everyone is way closer than we think. Being in Tallahassee is a factor.
I got Miami in this one. Quickly, Mississippi State, Texas A&M. I am taking A&M.
I want to take Mississippi State so bad in this game, but I'm reluctantly taking A&M.
I'm going to give me Mississippi State. Why not?
Wow.
It's just that type of season. Why not?
Nearly beat Tennessee, lost in overtime last week. How about Iowa State and Cincinnati, Gabe?
Cincinnati's favorite.
Yeah.
I'll take Iowa State. I'm going to take the Cyclones on the road.
Coach, quarterback, and a trustworthy defense. Give me
That's
Iowa
right.
State.
Respect Rocco Becht, and nobody
go.
is doing that. I'm taking Iowa State. Coming up next, Sooners in the NFL and hot takes to close up Sooner Game Day, presented by Taco Mayo.
Sooner Game Day is presented by Air Comfort Solutions. Your total home solution for plumbing, heating, air conditioning, and electrical. Make the winning call today. Coca-Cola. Fan work is thirsty work. Enjoy a Coca-Cola. OG&E. We energize life. OU Fan Shop. The best place to gear up for game day is shop.soonersports.com. OU Health. Oklahoma's only comprehensive academic health system.
Sooners in the NFL, presented by One Oklahoma, powered by Sooner Sports Properties, fan-fueled, athlete-focused. We highlight Marvin Mims. What a weapon he is for the Broncos in the return game as well, in addition to catching touchdown passes. And Jalen Redmond, 2 sacks of Aaron Rodgers overseas. That's pretty memorable.
I am so proud of that guy.
Great story.
He is just kept at it. Had to go play in another league to get the NFL's attention, and now he's made the most of his opportunity. Just a great, great story.
Hot takes are presented by Air Comfort Solutions, your total home solution for plumbing, heating, air conditioning, and electrical. Make the winning call today. Teddy Lehman, your hot take for Oklahoma and Kent State.
Well, we've talked about the turnovers. It's been a while, but Eli Bowen was out there last time we had a turnover. I think he gets us our first turnover of the season.
I like that one. Gabe?
Whit Neubauer
Oh, okay. Big guy.
will throw a touchdown.
Okay, explain.
I think Hawkins in this offense, you combine it with arguably the best defense in college football, I think this thing's going to be over at halftime.
Yeah.
Maybe 3 quarters. We'll see. I expect Kent State to show up and play with great effort after talking to Mark Carney this week. He's the backup. Get the big guy in there, let him sling it.
Let him
That's
go.
what he does.
Got
he
big arm now.
slings it.
That's right.
So it's actually something I'm really looking forward to. I want to see Neubauer sling it around a little bit.
Sooners and the Longhorns next week. We will be back in these seats getting everybody prepared for that. But let's sit back and enjoy. We've had to wait through a bye week. We've had injury news on a quarterback. Let's watch some football and enjoy the 1985 National Championship team of Barry Switzer and his guys get honored at halftime. 3 o'clock is kickoff on SEC Network. For Teddy and Gabe, I'm Chad. We'll see you next week on Sooner Game Day.